fruits and vegetable life.
The harrowing events of John Hopkins' family tragedy are seen next Saturday on BBC2 from the mother's point of view in the final part of Talking to a Stranger at 7:55.
Somewhere, every so often in this world, there will appear this tiny weed called morality.
Curly Delafield is back, and this time he wants the truth.
Pursuit of money is a force for progress.
It's always been the same.
The making of money.
The breaking of men.
Men here lead ugly lives, and girls are the only touchstones left.
Newspapers can be bought, judges can be lent on, politicians can be stuffed with truffles and cognac. Life's a racket, that we know.
Theatre Night presents Knuckle, tomorrow at 7:55 on 2. Now, by way of some comic relief, BBC2's 25th anniversary is celebrated by a comedy double bill from the 1970s. In half an hour, you can see Michael Palin's ripping yarn, The Curse of the Claw. And nearer to hand is the manic hysteria generated by the Kipper and the Corpse, which both wreaked havoc at that well-known hostelry, Fawlty Towers. There'll be more classic comedy at 9:25 on BBC2 next Saturday with a special compilation featuring last year's BAFTA Award winner Victoria Wood, as seen on TV. And this evening's comedy double bill continues with a ripping yarn from another member of the Monty Python Brigade, Michael Palin, who stars in this terrifying tale of a man who dabbled in the black arts, The Curse of the Claw.
And from the newsroom, the main stories. President Gorbachev has invited the Queen to visit Moscow, and it's understood that the Queen said she hoped to go in due course, although plans for official visits were made some years in advance. And just before he flew home from Heathrow a few moments ago, Mr. Gorbachev indicated that Mrs. Thatcher will make another visit to Moscow.
It was handshakes all round for the first visit by a Soviet president to Windsor Castle, welcomed by the Queen, the Duke of Edinburgh and Prince Edward. Mr. Gorbachev had ceremonial duties to perform during the most formal day of his visit to Britain. And before lunch, there was a brief tour of Windsor Castle and its beautiful rooms of furniture and paintings. The Queen was an enthusiastic guide, Mr. Gorbachev an appreciative guest. Earlier, there was more pomp for Mr. Gorbachev's main speech at the Guildhall. He admitted that there are problems with perestroika, the process which Mrs. Thatcher has called a peaceful revolution, but he said there's no turning back.
We have chosen definitively and irrevocably the route leading to new forms of life, democratization of our society in all spheres.
For the first time, he detailed the numbers of Soviet armed forces, and he announced the ending of the production of uranium for nuclear weapons and the closure of 2 nuclear reactors.
In short, any fears or misgivings about the Soviet military threat are groundless.
And relations between these two are better than ever.
You've provided us with an occasion that we will never forget, and which is the start of something very big and a new destiny.
And now from Heathrow, there's confirmation of what was talked about at that lunch, the most open secret of the trip.
I have invited Her Majesty the Queen to visit our country at a convenient time.
Buckingham Palace say they hope the visit will be possible in due course, and these two will clearly meet again.
And to Mr. and Mrs. Gorbachev, we say thank you for a wonderful visit and haste ye back.
So this extraordinary political relationship continues despite their differences.
Thousands of dockers around the country have walked out in protest at the government's plans to scrap the dock labour scheme. But their union advised them to go back to work until a planned course of national action could be worked out.
Walkouts at many major ports were a spontaneous demonstration of defiance, but a ballot will now have to be held before a strike can legally be called. That's expected to be arranged at a delegate meeting on Monday.
I think there will be support for the call for an all-out strike.
Our registered dock workers should understand that if this is the will of Parliament, then we'll abide by the will of Parliament. I expect them to do the same.
The employers also say they've devised contingency plans in case a strike is called.
The Foreign Office has said that Britain is to deliver 62 vehicles to the United Nations forces stationed in Namibia. The Foreign Office said it was in response to an urgent request from the Secretary-General of the United Nations, Javier Pérez de Cuellar. The vehicles will be flown to Namibia tomorrow. Palestinian demonstrators have clashed with police at the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. Police fired tear gas to disperse hundreds of demonstrators who were throwing stones at them. A police station was also attacked. The trouble started after Friday prayers at the mosque. The next news is a 6 o'clock news on BBC1 with Nicholas Witchell and Andrew Harvey.
Good afternoon to you. Well, prospects are much better for the weekend as the brighter weather already in the south continues to feed northwards. Even though it's bright and sunny in many parts of the south, though, there are some heavy showers around. My colleagues at Southampton tell me there's a thunderstorm going on down there, and other thunderstorms too across in Nottinghamshire and Northern Ireland on the radar picture at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Many of the showers fading away inland, but they'll continue around southern and western coasts, and still the rain over much of Scotland and Northern Ireland for much of the night. Most places are escaping a frost, but down in the south there could just be a touch of frost here and there with some icy roads as well. And that's it.
This is BBC2 for the Midlands. Good afternoon. Now here's the news and weather. Management at East Midlands International Airport say the government will have to pay for new security measures they're ordering, otherwise the costs will have to be passed on to passengers. The measures follow investigations into the Lockerbie disaster. A new system will be installed for the automatic checking of passes. Staff will only be given passes after their references have been fully checked. Restricted areas will be patrolled, with passengers' baggage being protected from unauthorised access. An airport spokesman says they'll institute the recommendations as soon as possible. A number of people are still being questioned by detectives in Wolverhampton following another drugs raid on the Fountain pub in Dudley Road. 24 people were arrested last night when police officers surrounded the premises. 18 people were released on police bail after being charged with possessing cannabis worth a total of £15,000. Other charges include carrying offensive weapons and assault. It's the second time the pub's been raided for drugs over the past 3 months. Police in Stoke-on-Trent are looking for 2 youths thought to be responsible for assaults and burglaries in the area. In the first incident, an office cleaner was threatened. Then the youths, using an imitation gun, forced their way into the homes of 2 pensioners. The husband was badly beaten and needed 30 stitches for wounds to his face. Nearly £200 was stolen. Arsonists started several fires at a school in Redditch this morning which caused thousands of pounds of damage. Police forensic experts are examining the annex of Lodge Farm Middle School where 3 separate fires broke out. The school's expected to open as usual after the Easter holidays. A post-mortem is being carried out on the body of a youth found dead in a flat near Gloucester. The 18-year-old, who's not yet been named, was discovered when ambulance men were called to the property late last night. Planners have approved a £20 million shopping centre for Loughborough in Leicestershire, but opponents may force the issue to be debated in full at the next meeting of Charnwood Council. Devonshire Square has been chosen for the site of 2 large stores and 22 smaller shops. Opponents say the area does need a shopping centre, but not on the scale proposed. Finally, a thief has stolen a £30,000 limited edition Porsche from a car auction without having bid or paid a penny for it. He told officials at the auction in Measham in Leicestershire that he had been authorised by the owners to pick it up for them. That's the news so far. Now the weather. The forecast for tonight, any heavy showers should die away overnight, and with clear periods we're going to end up with a cold night. Temperature falling to 2 degrees.
Now let's return to the Grand National meeting at Aintree.
And welcome back. The last race we had was a thriller over the big fences, the Seagram Fox Hunters Chase. The starting prices for you as follows.